top stories. St. Kitts and Nevis government request to host a U.S. embassy. 3,100 Haitians flee homes in capital within 24 hours. And doctors in the U.S. warn cancer drug shortages leading to public health crisis. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Wednesday, the 16th of August, 2023. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey. Nationally, the St. Kitts and Nevis government has approved the hosting of a United States of America embassy in the Federation. This was revealed by Cabinet Secretary Dr. Marcus Natta during the most recent post-cabinet briefing.
During the U.S. Caribbean Leaders Meeting in the Bahamas in June 2023, United States Vice President Kamala Harris announced that the Biden-Harris administration has begun the process to establish 2 new embassies and an additional diplomatic support presence in the Eastern Caribbean. In this regard, the Cabinet has taken the decision to have St. Kitts and Nevis host a U.S. embassy to strengthen the relationship and partnership with the United States of America.
He stated that the government will continue to regularly meet with and engage U.S. officials on this subject while they await the decision of the U.S. government. Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, held discussions with United States Ambassador to Barbados, the Eastern Caribbean, and the OECS, Her Excellency Linda Tagliatella. The discussion centered on critical diplomatic matters and mutual interests. Matters such as the U.S.-Caribbean Partnership to Address the Climate Crisis 2030, otherwise known as PAC 2030, were discussed. This recent initiative by the Biden-Harris administration seeks to integrate climate adaptation, resilience, and clean energy programs across the Caribbean region. Both parties underscored the significance of combating climate change through collective efforts. Minister Douglas and Her Excellency Tagliatella also discussed the collaborative measures between federal and local governments of St. Kitts and Nevis to relaunch the geothermal project. The U.S. authorities expressed particular interest in this as it aligns with the PAC 2030 goals. Notably, the U.S. government had previously provided technical assistance to St. Kitts and Nevis for the exploration of geothermal solutions in the past. Other noteworthy topics included the situation in Haiti, multilateral events such as the United Nations General Assembly, and forthcoming projects from the St. Kitts and Nevis government. As the discussion concluded, Dr. Douglas expressed enthusiasm in increased cooperation with the U.S. government on the matters raised during the meeting. These discussions solidify both nations' commitment to progress, collaboration, and addressing global challenges. Emergency medical technicians, or EMTs, at the Joseph N. France General Hospital have successfully completed training in the administration of pre-hospital emergency care and are now equipped with the necessary knowledge and skills to address critical emergencies. The pre-hospital emergency care training course was facilitated by Mr. Matthew Rolfe, a former paramedic from the United Kingdom and founder of EMS International. It formed part of the Ministry of Health's overarching goal of providing continuous training opportunities for all levels of staff within the ministry to ensure the delivery of the highest standard of care in St. Kitts and Nevis. While delivering brief remarks at the closing ceremony on Tuesday, Mr. Rolfe praised the local EMTs for their dedication and commitment to the 5-day course that covered the fundamentals of pre-hospital emergency care.
The course, 5 days, pretty intense overview of what glues pre-hospital emergency care together. And we looked at the primary survey, we looked at elements within the primary survey, how we can find things, fix things in order of priority to make sure that we do the best for our patients. We also looked at some medical conditions that we're likely to come across, and we looked at some new bits of kit that you might be using. And there was a lot of information to take in a very short space of time. And I have to say that you all did amazingly well.
In extending his own commendations to the course participants, Prime Minister and Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, stated that the emergency medical services is an integral part of the overall healthcare apparatus in St. Kitts and Nevis, as the services provided at this early stage of intervention often determine patients' outcomes.
We want this service to become a fully recognized service, not a by-the-way service. We want EMTs to be recognized as the professionals that you are. The nurses are recognized as professionals, the doctors are recognized as professionals, and you should also be recognized as professionals. You in your own profession as an EMT, you want that professional growth. You want that when you show up, nobody questions you. You want that when you show up, you can stand confidently because you have been through the necessary training and you have garnered the necessary knowledge, and therefore you demand the respect based on those two critical things. And therefore, I think we are on our way to that.
Dr. Drew assured the EMTs that his government will continue to make the necessary opportunities available to them, as the goal is to elevate the local EMS staff to the level of paramedics. We'll be right back with regional news after this.
The biggest party in sport is back. CPL returns with more action than ever before.
Are you kidding me? Olé!
Watch the biggest names in cricket battle it out in the race for glory.
Brilliantly! Celebrate some more!
Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
In regional news, government officials in Haiti say about 3,100 people have fled gang violence in the capital within the past 24 hours. The head of the United Nations has repeated his call to send multinational armed forces to Haiti as soon as possible. More in this Al Jazeera report.
Families carry the few possessions they have while they can. Caught in the battles for territorial control, they are fleeing violent gangs that have taken over their neighborhoods. This is the latest wave of displacement in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, where gang crime is rife and shortages of food and other essentials are widespread. Some seek shelter at this high school. They feel let down by their government.
It wasn't gangs that chased me out of my home. It was the Haitian state that made me abandon my home. It's the Haitian state that killed all the people, because it's the state that has the so-called legitimacy of violence.
Lawlessness has plagued Haiti, especially since the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse nearly 2 years ago. The UN estimates more than 2,000 Haitians have been killed in the first half of this year as gang crime escalates.
We lost our policemen who were helping us fight the gangs. They bled all night, and now the gangs are bathing in their blood.
Nearly 200 criminal gangs operate in Haiti, more than half of them in the capital alone. They're armed and dangerous. The United Nations has again appealed for urgent international help, saying peacekeeping is no longer an option.
We hope those efforts move as quickly as possible. In the meantime, we know very well what the horrendous security situation is on the ground in Haiti, and the horrendous humanitarian situation as well, as a result that keeps getting worse as a result of the deteriorating security situation.
Kenya has offered to lead a support force to intervene in Haiti, but the UN Security Council has not discussed deployment so far. Felix Nyawara, Al Jazeera.
In Ghana, 2 separate fires have resulted in the loss of 4 lives, including 2 children aged 7 and 12 and 2 adults. More in this report.
On Monday evening, the community of Silvertongue, Wismer-Linden, was thrown into a state of mourning over the loss of 12-year-old Yukilo Adams and her aunt Cheryl Moore, who perished when a fire swept through their 2-story concrete home. The fire allegedly was set by a man who is known to the family and lives at the property. Reports are that around 23:45 hours, the family of 6 were awakened by smoke from the bottom flat of the house and the smell of kerosene. Some of the relatives jumped over the veranda and were rescued by neighbors. It was then discovered that the 12-year-old and her aunt were trapped in the building, which was quickly engulfed in flames. Efforts to rescue them were unsuccessful. Both bodies were found on the stairway in the house. Hours after the suspected arsonist Akil Moore was arrested and remains in police custody, assisting with investigation. Meanwhile, a mother and her 7-year-old son on Tuesday morning perished in a fire at their Godope Essequibo Coast residence. The mothers have been identified as Sasha Cruz, while the son's name was given as Aisha Wilson. According to reports, the two were asleep when the fire broke out at their home at around 5:20 a.m. and shortly after, neighbors heard a child screaming, but were unable to rescue them since the house was already engulfed. Neighbors contacted the fire department, but on their arrival at the scene, the property was already razed. The origin of the fire is yet to be determined. Following the fires, Minister of Home Affairs Rupson Ben visited the relatives of the victims to offer words of comfort and support. The fire service said that despite firefighters' best efforts, both buildings and their contents were destroyed by the time the fires were extinguished. Tiana Ko reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
International news is next after this short break.
The biggest party in sport is back. CPL returns with more action than ever before.
Are you kidding me? Volley!
Watch the biggest names in cricket battle it out in the race for glory.
Celebrate some more!
Get your tickets now at cplp20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Internationally, doctors in the U.S. are running low on medication for cancer patients. Supplies ran short after production was halted in India. The U.S. is allowing replacement supplies from China, but Congress is being warned that American over-reliance on foreign supplies